Hi, my name's Stephen Hand from Archery Supply. Today I want to talk about Bayley Sargeant. She's just left PSE to go to Mybo. And there was some things on some forums, which I'm going to put up some comments of what people said. Who's Bayley Sargeant and why do we care? So I want to discuss this and how I feel about her, and maybe discuss her a little bit from what I know of her and what I see of her, and just discuss what's going on. Right, so Bayley Sargeant, I think she's Croatian, I think she lives in the UK, and she's won stuff. She's an archer, a successful female archer. She's fit, she's healthy, she lifts weights, and I'm going to say inspirational archer. Inspirational, she's an archer that people would follow, and promotes a healthy lifestyle and fitness. Good, all good things. Right, and she's not bad on the eye as well, so another good thing. And for people who aren't so good on the eye like myself, that's okay, right? But she's an attractive person that people will look at and aspire to be like, okay? Because she lifts weights, she eats healthy, good lifestyle, she trains, successful, things are good for her, right? That's what it looks like on the outside. She's been with PSE for a number of years, and she's now chosen to go with Mybo. I'm going to suggest that's because PSE have not renewed her. Okay? So I want to discuss the different levels of sponsorship. There's different levels. There was levels like Stefan Hansen had a few years ago, where I'm going to suggest that he was on a salary for PSE, and they used to pay for him to fly around to events. Okay? That's a high level. And then you've got a level where you get given a bow. That's another level. And then you get another level where you pay for the shirt yourself to promote PSE. Okay? So there's the different levels of sponsorship. And I'm going to say there's different emotions which come with those sponsorships. So if you're some staff shooters that just left Bowtech, there's probably some harsh feelings. Right? Even though you're getting paid a shit ton of money and you're not getting paid that ton of money now for your new bow company, there's not a self-reflection going, actually, maybe I could have just earned less for that company and I was getting overpaid. Anyway, so I'm not having a go, and I sound like I'm having a go. What I'm trying to get at is it's about impact. So PSE, Pete Shepley spoke to me years ago when we're having lunch together, and goes, I give away about 320 bows. He goes, what impact do you think that has? I'm like, he doesn't give any in Australia, right? So that comes out of my pocket, right? So when there were PSE bows given away in Australia, it was out of my personal pocket. So just make that clear, all right? So I was like, I can tell you about my experience, but let's just talk about Pete's experience. His view was it had very little impact on overall sales. Okay? Giving away 320 bows. The bows he gave away, the people didn't publicize it enough to make giving away a bow worthwhile. Okay? So he lost money from giving away bows. So if you're a staff shooter and you think, well, you know, I get given a bow because I'm a good archer, you're given a bow to promote the brand, to sell product. That's what you're there to do. Whether it's because you're good and you win and people buy the product because you're good and you win and they aspire to be like you because you promote it on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you promote it, I see very little people promote the product. And of all the bows I've given away, very few people promote the product. You wouldn't be able to name the people I give bows to. Okay? Some you might, but... Right. So, Bayley. I want to go back to how I started with PSE. Okay? So, back when I started with PSE, I was probably 27 years ago. Okay? There was no PSEs in Australia. It was a dead brand. I think it was pretty dead in America too. 27 years ago, it was going through a downturn for whatever reason. Okay? And I can say the reasons I feel. I feel the importer into Australia was too expensive. His margins were too high for a wholesaler. He didn't have anything in stock, and he was probably a bit of a dick. Right? Based on my experience, because I went to buy off him, but his prices were so high, you just couldn't sell them. Right? So it was like, well, I can't sell that product, so I will sell a different product. Easy. And I had success with the other products I sold. So not having PSE wasn't an issue for me. So anyway, I hadn't seen a PSE bow in Australia for, let's say, 10 years. Okay? PSE had its heyday in Australia in probably the 1985s, 1984s. There was quite a few PSEs. But from that period of time to, I'm going to say, close to 2000, year 2000, there was no PSEs. It was a dead brand in Australia. Overseas might be different, but this is my view. So I go to PSE and I said, I'd like to buy your bows. PSE say no. Okay. So I go there again the following year and I say, I'd like to buy your bows. And they say, well, if you place a $100,000 order, we will sell you PSE. Now, back then, I was about 27. It was in the year 1997, and houses cost about $100,000. So it was, you could buy a house or you could buy some bows from PSE. Your choice. Now, I'm going to say the property market in Australia was not going up, and no one wanted to own houses. Right? So you could buy a house or you could buy PSE and hopefully make some money on PSE bow sales. Right? So I placed an order for $100,000 worth of PSE bows from PSE. Would have been better to buy the house, okay, hindsight, but I went to buy $100,000 worth of PSE stock from PSE. So I put together an order, placed the order. Pete Shepley himself vetoed the order. He said, no, we're not supplying, we're going to give the Australian distributor another go to see if he can improve sales. Now, back then, the Australian sales of PSE was $25,000 a year. How do I know this? Because they told me. So total sales in PSE in Australia was $25,000, and I was offering them $100,000 first up order. And Pete Shepley said no because loyalty meant more to him than $100,000. Anyway, the following year rolls around. And PSE get a new sales manager. His name is Jay Salo, and I'm young, and my business is doing quite well. I'm turning over, I think, $1.5 million a year at that stage. Still in my backyard, but I'm doing very well, thank you, and I'm thinking about growing to get bigger, as I always am. It's obviously a mental condition I have. Anyway, so I go to Jay and I place an order with Jay, and Jay supplies me, and we build PSE sales, and we first off build them in the hunting market. And you're going to say, what's this got to do with Bayley? Well, we're getting to that. So we first off build them in the hunting market, and I can't sell a PSE target bow to save my life. None. Zero sales. No one buys them. And I can remember saying to Jay in the following year, I can't sell a PSE bow, target bow, to save myself. Right? I just can't move them. No one's interested. No one wants them. And I said it would be nice if we could grow this market. And every single year I follow this up with meetings with Pete Shepley, saying it would be really nice to grow the target market. And they would tell me, yes, we struggle with target sales. We struggle in England. England, that's where Bayley is, the female target archer who was sponsored. We struggle with this. We don't get the sales in England because England doesn't hunt. They're target bows. Europe don't hunt. Target sales. We're struggling in these markets. So we discussed this. Discussed colours, designs, custom options. PSE came up with custom bow options. They matched colour strings to the colour of the risers. All very nice. Now, during that period, I would rock up to a shoot in my state, and all the bows were PSE except for the two people who were sponsored by Hoyt. Okay, so the two Hoyt shooters would be shooting Hoyt because they were given the bows, and all the rest of the shooters on the line were PSE. I had a heyday of sales in PSE target bows. I felt like most target bows sold in Australia were PSE. I didn't see I had a competitor as far as Hoyt was a competitor, but that was it. And they gave away so many Hoyts, I questioned whether they made any money. Right? So that's where we're at. Heydays, things doing well. Then PSE started giving sponsorships. I'm going to say started, they sponsored Stefan Hansen, and he was very successful flying around the world winning stuff. And then they started sponsoring a few other archers around the place. Okay? I'm going to say Bayley got picked up a couple of years ago and given a couple of bows. Right? And that was all the time of John Dudley and PSEs giving away lots of stuff. Okay? It might have been change of CEO. Then new ownership came in. So new ownership, PSE, Pete Shepley sold PSE. New ownership came into PSE. I haven't spoken to the new ownership. I haven't spoken to the new managers. There's been no communication, right? So since then, you should notice, some shooters are not getting sponsored, and some are. So, PSE has picked up some successful archers, and they are successful. But you've noticed some contracts are being expired and not renewed. Okay, and I'm going to guess Bayley is one of those. Now, I go back to the stage where PSE was struggling to get sales into England. They had a shooter in England. I think his name was Chris Wyatt. I believe he was the best compound shooter in England who shot PSE. And I'm not sure if he wasn't on a salary. Okay. But I don't know, but I had a feeling he was on a salary. Whether he was or wasn't, I don't know. But I don't know what happened to Chris. I don't know if he's still shooting. I don't see any posts. And I don't know what's happened because I don't have the communication anymore with PSE, with international sales and how sales is going around the world anymore like I used to. Okay. I'm not in a loop anymore like I used to. PSE used to talk to me about stuff. They don't anymore. Anyway, I feel that Bayley was their person in England, and Mybo in England is obviously an English manufacturer, and they support English archers, and I'm going to say just probably by giving a bow away, and I feel they've just given Bayley a bow. Okay, and it's good because it's local and it promotes local English archers and European archers to buy Mybo. It's not a bad thing, and it's all a matter of how many you're giving versus how much you're making. I would question sales of PSE bows in England and Europe, given its target. I can talk about Australia. I used to give away the bows in Australia out of my own pocket. But one archer, I gave 2 bows, and I noticed those bows are for sale right now. But there's like $4,000 of my money, and I didn't see anything for it. There's just nothing, not one post, nothing. Right? Very good archer. And he shot well with PSE, but I think he won stuff. But I didn't use any of the posts because there was no photos and no nothing. So $4,000 just gone. Hello, would have been better to buy the house. Would have been better to buy Bitcoin. Look, some archers I sponsor are worthwhile. There's no question, and it makes me feel good. Okay, so some of it is about making me feel good about doing the right thing. Okay, so sometimes I'd give a discount, but yeah, so then PSE appointed other people in Australia to sell PSE. So I'm like, well, I'm not giving away my money anymore to promote other stores. So now there's nothing given away in Australia as far as PSE is concerned. And if you're an Australian champion who shoots PSE and you go to PSE for sponsorship, PSE says no. The marketing of PSE may be just to focus on a couple of elite archers. I don't know if it's to promote bow hunting. I don't know if it's to promote product. I don't know. I know they're cutting back on giving away products, as I understand, and they're trying new things like appointing new dealers in Australia to effectively replace me, which is fine. All good stuff to try if you're a business. Whether it's successful or not, that will show. But that's where I think that's what's happened with Bayley. Now, a lot of Americans say, who cares? Who cares if John Dudley doesn't shoot PSE? Like, it's not that. It's about a bigger plan. To underestimate the impact of a social media person on influencing people. And I'm not saying she does have influence or she doesn't have influence. But to underestimate it, I'm going to say Chris B has massive influence. MJ in... I'm going to go MJJR. In America, massive influence on what people buy. Now, it may not be truthful. He may not mention all the problems he's having with bows. But it's impactful, and you know it's making an impact on sales. And I would say, as a bow manufacturer, you always have to be a little bit cautious with losing a person like Bayley. Because she does do posts. People do follow. I assume people do follow her. And it's a market, if I was a manufacturer, I would want to be in. So if I was manufacturing bows, I would want Bayley in. I would want to look after Bayley. That's what I'm saying. The amount of which you want to look after Bayley is questionable, and that's the debate you would have to have with Bayley. But she's a person. She posts stuff. She puts out a good image of what you want to see in archery. Fit, healthy, good lifestyle. That's the good image. It's for people to aspire to be. It gets people shooting. It gets people into a good lifestyle. So that's my take on it. I'll leave this one here. I could do a whole post on what I think about John Dudley leaving PSE, but that will probably be another one. I just want to do Bayley because she posted today with photos of her in MYB. Anyway, I'm Stephen Hand. Thanks for watching. Bye.